is going to be speaking about the worm, the cricket, and Duke, the Bulldog. An 8 to 10 minute speech. Again, Bob Ransom.
In 1986, after 8 years of dealing with post-traumatic divorce disease, better known as beautiful bachelorhood, I would never, ever get married again. Then I met Susan Thomas. I had put that feeling of mine, I etched it in stone. But when I met Susan and we started dating, the stone started melting. While we were in the Yahoo stage of the relationship, we discussed whether or not she should move in with me. In order to save time and just get to the heart of the matter, I suggested let's tell each other what our spouses would say is wrong with us. She said, fine, you go first. I admitted that my ex-wife would say that I was an addict. She said, to what are you addicted? I was a man about it. I told her, golf. She said, well, that's okay. I'll learn how to play. It was her turn. She said, my ex-husband would say that my love for all animals can cause problems. I didn't hear the all part. I thought, animals? I had a dog. My buddy has a cat. What could the problem be? Come on in, darling. She did, and about 2 weeks later, I got an idea of what her husband may have been talking about. Susan came with me to observe a serious game of golf, playing for money. I wanted her to observe and understand the etiquette of the game. Things like be quiet and be still when someone is making a shot. We came to the last hole. I had a short putt. If I made it, I was not going to lose any money. If I missed it, we would not be going out to dinner anytime soon. I stood over the putt, started my stroke, and wait! And she ran by me. Startled, I missed the putt. She went up by the hole and picked up a worm. Steam. I said, that worm was not on the line of my putt. She said, I was not worried about the line of your putt. I thought you might step on the poor worm. And she walked it off the green and nestled it down in the grass, where I'm sure it was stepped on by the next group. I said to myself, this lady is nuts. But I did not want that to be a deal breaker. I changed my perspective and I decided to see it as cute. But back then I thought everything she did was cute. So cute, I married her. We did not have a formal honeymoon due to work obligations, but we did go to a remote, isolated Rocky Mountain cabin for a romantic evening. It was time for bed. I got in bed. Susan got in bed. All right, all right, all right. And then all of a sudden she bolted upright and said, did you hear that? I thought, oh my God, probably a serial killer. We are dead. She said, listen, that cricket. Cricket? She said, that cricket is in trouble. Trouble? and she got out of bed and was gone. I waited and waited and waited. And I thought, this has to be what her ex-husband was talking about. We have a problem here. I fell into a deep sleep. Eventually, she got back into bed and said, I got him! Who, the intruder? No, the cricket! It turns out the cricket was in trouble. It was stuck in a drain. After many failed attempts at rescue, she got a stick. She cut notches in the stick. She tied a string to the stick. She dropped the stick down the drain, and the cricket crawled to safety, living to chirp another day. I told her I was happy for the cricket. Susan's gift with animals has come in mighty handy at times, none more than last year when actually it solved a problem rather than creating a problem. I was given the task of babysitting my 5-year-old grandson, Vance, his friend Tyler, and Tyler's pet, a little French bulldog named Duke. The last words I heard when Tyler's mom and Susan left to go to the store, do not let Duke out. Last week he escaped. It took 6 people, 3 hours to get him, and he almost got run over twice. I said, who do you think you are talking to? The king of babysitters. We settled in to watch Paw Patrol, and all of a sudden the sound of a trash truck. Vance jumped off the couch, ran out the door. I wasn't worried. There was a 6-foot gate holding him in the yard. Then all of a sudden I heard, Baba! I ran out and there he was, stuck on the top of the gate. I opened the gate just enough to get him. Out went Duke. I knew at that moment my life had turned to Dookie Doo-Doo. Duke took off after the trash truck, Vance after Duke, Tyler after Vance, and I'm taking up the rear, running as fast as I can. We come to a cross street. There was no stop sign. Duke ran into the street, nearly got hit by a car. I screamed at the boys, stop! They did. I ran into the street and became a policeman. Halt! A Mercedes slid to a stop. A lady gets out. A trash truck came from the other direction. The driver got out. We all circled Duke. We got closer and closer. Almost had him. Duke looked at me, and if he could have, he would have gone, yeah! And he was gone again. At that moment, it was as if a choir of angels had come to rescue me from the pit of hell. Dookie, it was Susan. Dookie, Duke stopped. And he ran right to Susan. Now, at that moment, I realized I can communicate with animals too. I gave him the finger as he went by. It turned into a wave as Duke jumped into Susan's arms and she glared at me. Hi. We formed a parade on the way back to the house, Susan and Duke in the lead, followed by Vance, Tyler, Molly, and then me, appropriately, having failed in such spectacular fashion, bringing up the rear. Susan and Duke were having a conversation. Oh, Dookie, you didn't mean it, did you, sweetheart? Oh, yes, he did, Steve. Oh, Dookie, you won't do it again, will you, sweetheart? Oh, yes, he will, Steve. It was as if the sea had taken all of the negative thoughts out of my head and I had a different perspective. I thought to myself, if everybody in this world had just a little bit of the empathy for each other that Susan has for worms, crickets, and even Duke the Bulldog, this world would be a better place.